Hey guys, haven't made a video in a couple years, I guess. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Steve Truesdell. I have this channel, Sober Steve. May 1st will be 27 years of sobriety, assuming I make it there. Pretty proud of that. That makes me two things. Makes me grateful and it makes me old. I got sober when I was 30 years old, so been a while, and just very grateful. I stopped making these videos a couple years ago because I did like a series of 12 and I felt like I kind of had said everything I wanted to say, and then it became like a chore, so I stopped. But last month I met an old friend for breakfast that I hadn't seen in a couple of years, that had asked to meet for breakfast, that is very new in sobriety and wanted to talk to me about that. And I'm so proud of him. He's doing great. Great person. And, I've had over the years, I've been fortunate enough, having put myself out there, to have, dozens of people probably come up and ask me for help or help for their loved one or whatever. And, sadly, this disease is tough, and most people don't maintain their sobriety. I've known a couple people that have, but this particular gentleman, I hope he watches this. I have really high faith that he's got it, because he seems like he wants it. And as I said before, the biggest thing to be successful in sobriety is you truly have to want it. You have to get to a point where you want it more than anything else on earth, basically, and that you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, is what they say. But you can only do it for your spouse, your mom, the judge. You can only do it for other people so long, because it's so difficult when you have the disease that you just really have to want it. And then when you want it and you put it first, and you get rid of the things in your life that are going to cause you to relapse, and then you stay on your program, whatever it is. Most people go to AA or 12-step program. Most people do some kind of, most people that make it, that I know, have done some kind of therapy or counseling for at least a while, rehab program. So you got to stick with it, and but anyway, just got me thinking. He had said I should do some more videos, and sometimes I feel like people get tired of hearing me talk, so maybe it's just me that gets tired of hearing me talk. But I mean, somebody brought up a good point, like they don't have to watch. So yeah. So I think I'll probably do these from time to time. I'm very grateful. It's been a crazy couple of years for me, and I've maintained my sobriety, which I always put at the top. And sometimes I have down days and down weeks, but overall, I'm just very grateful. I have a really good life. And, but as my friends know, September 29th, 2023, so it's been about a year and a half now, I have suffered a massive cardiac arrest where my heart stopped 8 times, and, I had to be resuscitated, and I'm very, very fortunate to be alive. That was kind of one of those life-altering moments for me. And I had to make some changes in my diet and exercise, and I'm in better shape than I was. Still have work to do on that. But yeah, I mean, that was a crazy traumatic event for me that changed my perspective on some things. And just like just like alcoholism, just like my divorce, just like the death of my mom, just like having to close up my business, all of those major impactful events in life, at least for me, even when they're really sad and really difficult to get through, I always end up better on the other side. I always end up stronger, wiser, more confident, more at peace. Each one of those things. So, and when all of those things have happened to me and I maintain sobriety, it's like, that really makes me feel good. So, so that's kind of where I'm at, and, as far as, alcoholism goes, if you haven't watched my other videos, like there's so many different resources out there. There's so many places you can go for help. But as I said before, like in my experience talking to people over the years, I would say that almost every family has at least one alcoholic in there, either an uncle or an aunt, cousin, mom, dad, sister, brother, grandfather. Um, and I think that over the years it's become um, more common for people to recognize what alcoholism is. I think there's still a degree of denial, but it's not as, it used to be like you're an alcoholic, you're shunned, and people just pictured alcoholic as somebody on the corner with a brown paper bag that can't hold down a job or whatever. And that's not true. There's a lot of successful people out there that are alcoholics or drug addicts, or, they're nurses, doctors, pilots, teachers, because they're humans. And I think that a degree of this disease, there's been a lot of studies and stuff. Genetics plays a role, so does society. And then those of us that really become, drunks and alcoholics, we practice, we just keep drinking until we're drunk. And I've always said, like, what I learned from my alcohol therapist when I was going through there was, like, right early on, he's like, hey, to simplify this disease, there's three things to look for. If somebody ever asks, hey, am I alcoholic? It's not up for me to tell somebody they're alcoholic or not. But here are the three things that most alcoholics have in common. Number one, and this is the biggest to me, is when they start drinking, they have a hard time stopping. So you could go a month without drinking, but then when you go to drink, if you have to drink to get drunk, if you have trouble stopping, that's a huge key indicator that you probably have a problem. Number two is friends and family have told you drink too much and that you probably need to get help, because friends and family that care about you, most people, if they get to the point where they're telling you they're worried about you, there's probably a good reason. And then number three is the DUIs. Like, almost anybody out there, a normal person can make a bad decision and get a DUI, as terrible as they are. Most people at one point in their life have had too much to drink and driven a car. But if you have multiple DUI arrests, that usually is a key indicator, because it's so horrible. It's expensive, it's embarrassing, it's stressful, it's terrible. Like, why would you want to go through that a second time? But us alcoholics, it isn't that we don't care, it's just that we can't avoid it. Until you really, most of us, until you really get in there and get help, you can't stop. So that is what it is. But so those are just kind of like little reminders. And again, as far as me, man, it's like the last couple of weeks I haven't been feeling too great mentally, and but I recognize, like, wow, even like a bad time right now is still way better than it used to be when I was drinking. And then I have to get myself out of it, and it's usually the same patterns. It's like I start to make bad choices. I stop exercising as much as I was, or I start eating sugar or things that aren't good for me more than I was. I start to stinking thinking. I start to think about the things that are bothering me or stressing me out, instead of thinking about the things I'm grateful for and looking around at all the things that I have in my life that I have to be super grateful and proud of. And so a lot of times it's just that adjusting that thinking, And one thing that's very interesting about alcoholism, and like if you go to AA, one reason why AA works so well is that everybody that's there shares that common disease and problem, so they understand each other. And you have people in varying degrees of sobriety. So you go into a meeting, somebody's been sober for a day, somebody's been sober for a week, somebody's been sober for 90 days, and you got, old dudes like me is like 27 years of sobriety. So we learn from each other, because people that are new in sobriety, they need the people like me that have been around forever, and that they can look and say, hey, if that guy can do it, why can't I do it? Right? 27 freaking years, that guy hasn't had a drink, and he's a drunk. So if he can do it, why can't I? And then I can share my experiences, and that helps them. But how they help me is it brings me back, because sometimes you're sober so long, you kind of forget, like, maybe it wasn't that bad, But then I look at them, and they're holding on for dear life, like, just praying to make it to the next day, sober. They got all these legal problems stacking up. Their family hates them. You know what I mean? You got all that drama going on, and it kind of brings me back. And as I've said before, I don't really go to AA. I haven't gone to AA for a while, and I know where AA is if I need it. I got to a point where I felt worse after the meetings than when I got there. And, you know, there are other old timers that'll say, oh, that's bad or whatever. But I've been sober for 27 years. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp. And if I had a relapse, I would get right back in there, you know. But I'm here and available for anybody new in sobriety, right? Just because I feel like I've given back of myself over the years a lot, and I don't really have to do that. If it's going to make me feel worse, I'm not going to do it because I have to be selfish. But for many, many years, it made me feel better. And anybody who's new in sobriety, I'd say, you know, AA really should be a regular component of your sobriety. It really should. And if you can afford it, if your insurance covers it, therapy for sure. Because most of us have, and most non-alcoholics have issues that they could be helped with a therapist too. People don't want to admit it, but we all have our skeletons. We all have our areas that we could use help with. I'm a huge mental health proponent. I think everybody could use it, you know, in some way or another. But people that believe that it's not for them or that can't help them, I always feel bad for them because I feel like they're missing out on something there. But anyway, that's enough. I've rambled 11 minutes, it looks like. I just wanted to say hello to everybody, let you know how I'm doing. Tell those of you that are struggling out there, you know, it's kind of like they used to say about smoking. Don't quit quitting. Don't give up. Get help. You know, get help. And if anybody ever has any questions for me, you can always reach out to me on social media. If you have my number, text me, call me. I'd always do anything I could to help anybody that struggles with this disease, or family members that are worried. But, you know, there's limited amount that I can do, but I can give you my opinion and, you know, give you my advice and share my experiences. So that's about it. And one other thing is Super Bowl Sunday. This used to be an excuse to get as drunk as I could, because of course it's the Super Bowl, I should get drunk. This year I don't actually care about the Super Bowl because being a bitter Lions fan, I just hope neither team has fun. But you know, I'll watch it because it's what you do. You're in America, you watch the Super Bowl. But I won't get drunk, and I'm not gonna, you know, overindulge in anything. I just watch the game and you know, try to enjoy it best I can, and be grateful that, you know, it'll be yet another Super Bowl Sunday that I'm sober. And hopefully one of these years it'll be a Super Bowl Sunday that I'm sober watching the Detroit Lions, baby. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody has a great day.